We gather in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. As Indigenous and non-Indigenous people gathering together, let us have a sense of the importance of the country upon which the celebration is being held, where learning and ceremony have taken place over many years. Let us acknowledge the land beneath our feet and to whom it belongs, the Gimoy, Wallabara, Yidinji and Yuraganji people. Let us pause and pay our respect to their elders and all elders, past, present and emerging. For we too are one in land, one in spirit, one in faith, united in God's love. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This year, our college theme has been Holy Today, which comes from the Pope Francis' 2019 letter to the world called Rejoice and Be Glad. It reminds us of the invitation given to each one of us to see the holy in ourselves, in others, and in our world, to see as God sees. We take time and pray that we recognise that each of us is truly God's work of art. There are no exceptions to this. No one is excluded from God's love, joy, care, and welcome. God is with us and for us. We are called to be fully alive in our lives, to discern, recognise, develop, and celebrate our unique gifts, and to bring the best of who we are and what we can do for the service of the church, our communities, our neighbours, and our world. Today and every day, we are called to a down-to-earth holiness that challenges us to be fully who God has created us to be and to help others all they can be too. A reading from the book of Isaiah. I am ready to be approached by those who do not study me, ready to be found by those who do not seek me. I say, I am here, I am here. To people who do not invoke my names, this is the word of the Lord. A reading from the Mara source, water from the rock. Marcelin sees God in all things and believes all things come from God. He experiences God's presence in both the tranquility of the hermitage and the noisy streets of Paris. For him, every place and circumstance constitute an opportunity to meet God. Like Marcelin, we can find God in every situation. Our faith does not limit the experience of God to moments of prayer of sacred places. We can experience God's love in all of our life. From this viewpoint, the world is no longer considered an obstacle and becomes instead a place of encounter with God, of mission, and of sanctification. We give thanks for the blessings of this year. We have been encouraged to be people of generosity, acceptance, healing, and hospitality. We give thanks that we have awakened to new possibilities and encounters with you this year. We thank you for our saints' brothers, for their gifts and strength, for their presence and simplicity, and their generosity of spirit. We give thanks for the love and support of our family and friends who have been with us throughout this year. Help us to remember to thank them for their care of us. God, you are always and forever in our midst. You lead us to be people of love, inclusion, compassion and liberation. People, through living the joy of the gospel, can awaken us to living the gospel values in our Marist way. St. Marcelin Champagne, Mary our Good Mother, St. Augustine and St. Monica, and let us always remember, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, could you please stand for the national anthem? Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all on this, the college's 90th awards evening. Could I please ask that your mobile devices turn to silent, whatever that means, so that we can proceed unimpeded with technology. Could I issue a very warm welcome to our special guests this evening. Bishop James Foley, Bishop of Cairns, Father Frank Gordon, Vicar General of the Diocese, Father Martin Kenny, the Mayor and Lady Mayor, Mr and Mrs Bob Manning, our Member for Cairns, Mr Michael Healy, Mr Bill Dixon, our Executive Director of Catholic Education, diocesan priests, diocesan principals and other special guests. We're in for a great night, and to start it off we have the combined St Monica's and St Augustine's College Concert Band. They rehearse weekly and they have played at many events throughout the year. This evening they will play for us Declaration Overture. They are conducted by Mrs Cherie Spannenberg. Ladies and gentlemen, the combined college's concert band. Wow, that was certainly a declaration of intent. Thanks very much to Mrs. Spannenberg and to the Combined Colleges Concert Band. From the audio to the visual, a film prepared and edited by Year 12 student Lachlan Womersley. Sit back and enjoy the year in review.
I'm feeling so hollow, don't you know? Don't you know? I'm living in shadow, don't you know? Don't you know? I fell for fool's gold, I fell for fool's gold. What did I know? What did I know? I fell for fool's gold, I fell for fool's gold. What did I know? What did I know? How deep is your love? How deep is your love? How deep is your love? Open up my eyes and tell me who I am. Let me in on all your secrets. No inhibition, no sin. How deep is your love? Is it like the ocean? What devotion are you? How deep is your love?
Thank you very much, Lachlan, for the hours, the many hours you have devoted to the filming and editing of that presentation. I would now invite the Head of Sport, Mr. Toby McCarthy, to the stage and invite our sports awardees to please assemble. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the veterans here tonight will know that we present these awards in groups, and we ask you that you hold your applause until we indicate that. Photos will be available from Dominic at Pine Creek, and the details of that are on the back of your program. And firstly, to our Peninsula representatives in grades 7, 8 and 9. Basketball, Benjamin Dempsey. Cross country, Thomas Dummel. Rugby union, Aidan Flood. Cross country, Kane Heels. Hockey, Parker Lane. Track and field, Xavier Sims. Baseball, Jet Wallen. Triathlon, Thomas Barber. Baseball, Matthew Gadderer. Rugby union, Lachlan McGill. Cross country, Gareth Thomas. Golf, Saxon Kapelos. AFL, Noah Cockrell. Football, Darcy Fitzroy. Rugby union, Jesse Nielsen. Cross country, Harry Taylor. Rugby union, Caleb Vahim. And football, Thomas Waddingham. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 7, 8 and 9 Peninsula representatives. And now for our Year 10, 11 and 12 Peninsula representatives. Volleyball, Andrew Bellaby. Track and field, Liam Bruce. Volleyball, James Holland. Track and field, Richard Hewlin. Baseball, Matthew Johnson. Cross country and track and field, Oliver Lucan. Squash, Xavier Morzone. Rugby league and rugby union, Tavaka Palu. Rugby league, Cody Scharf. Baseball, Tyang Simpson Harris. Rugby league, Bill Vincent. Hockey, Aidan Conlon. Baseball, Arthur Conomos. Football, Riley Gadek. Football, Jack Jenkins. Football, Lachlan McKell. Football, Matthew Menico. Basketball, Kai Mountney. Hockey, Lachlan Stanley. Rugby union, Yapoi Ware. Baseball, Mac Wallen. Touch, Will Wright. Football, Casey Agnew. Hockey, Ethan Andrzejczyk. Rugby union, Kaya Crouch. Football, Luca Gadek. Cross country, Felix Graf. Cricket and football, William Johnson. Rugby union, Kelly Jorgensen. Rugby union, Dylan Keppel. Track and field, Joshua Pinney. Basketball, Zaid Slade. Track and field and volleyball, Wesley Yao. Ladies and gentlemen, our senior Peninsula representatives. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. I now invite Mr. Brennan, our college principal, to present the following awards. Firstly, our age champions. 12 years swimming, Liam Gleave. Peninsula swimming and 13 years swimming, Ike Martinez. Peninsula Football and our Track and Field 12 years, James Pavola. Peninsula Tennis and our Cross Country 12 year, Jake Swindale. Track and Field, Peninsula Cross Country and our Cross Country 13 years champion, Lucas Lane. Peninsula Cross Country and Track and Field, our 14 years Cross Country champion, Christian Novakoski. Peninsula and 14 years Cross Country, Alexander Welsh. Peninsula Football and our 15 years Cross Country champion, Aaron Dempsey. Peninsula Rugby League and our 15 years Track and Field, Kaylin Marr. Peninsula Cross Country, Track and Field, Triathlon and our 16 years Track and Field champion, Miguel Groth. And our Open Swimming champion, Lucas Kresovic. Ladies and gentlemen, our college age champions. And now we have our state representatives, and ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that obviously they have to get to that level achieved at the local and regional levels also. Basketball refereeing, Benjamin Moore. Football refereeing, Archie Rodolfi. Peninsula Swimming, our 14-year swimming champion, and Queensland Swimming, Martin Weiss. Track and Field, Nicholas Bannigan. Peninsula Cross Country, Queensland Track and Field, Jack Bedgood. Track and Field, Noah Watson. Queensland Cross Country, Peninsula Track and Field, and our age champion in cross country, Toby Gillen. Football, Ewan White. Baseball, Brock Wallen. Ladies and gentlemen, the college's state representatives. And now we have one national representative as Australian basketball referee, Riley Chapman. We now come to the Rising Star Award, which is awarded to a Year 8 student who has performed to a high level across a variety of sports in the college and the regional sporting arena. This student will also be someone who has displayed characteristics that mark the spirit of sport at St Augustine's College. For hockey, cross country, athletics and football, the Rising Star Award for Year 8 goes to Ryan Cartwright. The Sportsman of the Year Awards recognise excellence in achievement and leadership among their peers. The recipients of these awards must also display characteristics of fair play, tenacity, team spirit, and personal discipline. For cross-country, triathlon, track and field, and new records at college, district and peninsula levels, the Fred Innes Trophy for Junior Sportsman of the Year goes to Joel Stevens. Thank you, Mr. Brennan. I would now invite Mr. Burley Mullins to present the Senior Sportsman of the Year Award, which we have named in his honour, in recognition of Mr. Mullins' sporting achievements and contribution to the life of the college for over 6 decades. Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Representing Australia at the Oceania Games in the decathlon and winning gold and breaking the record, selection in Australia's top 8 A squad, selection in Queensland Target Talent Program, represented Queensland on 6 occasions, ranked number 2 in Australia for decathlon and top 20 in the world, and awarded the Athletics North Queensland Emerging Athlete of the Year. The Bernie Mullins Trophy for Senior Sportsman of the Year goes to Liam Gilbert. Thank you, Mr. Mullins. I now invite Mr. McCarthy back to the stage to present the next award. The Head of Sport Prize for Outstanding Contribution to Sport is awarded to a Year 12 student who has performed to a high level across a variety of sports offered at the college and in the regional sporting arena over his 5 years here at Saints. The prize is in recognition of the valuable and ongoing contribution the student has made to the sports program during his time at the college. For Peninsula Rugby League, Rugby Union, the college's athletics team, captain of the first 13, captain of the first 15, Queensland representative squad, under 20s Eastern Suburbs selection, the Head of Sport Prize goes to Alistair Maloney. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. From the sporting arena to the Chamber Hall. We will now hear from the Combined Colleges String Orchestra. It is played at major events throughout the year. Tonight, they are performing for us Citadel by Stephen Chin, and they are under the direction of Mrs. Cherie Spannenberg. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Combined Colleges String Orchestra. Thank you to Mrs. Spannenberg and to the Combined Colleges String Orchestra. Undertones and overtones of Vivaldi, Bach, Mozart, all sorts of people. We will hear from them again. I would now like to invite to the stage Mr. John Brimstone, our Director of Boarding. At the heart of our college is the boarding program, where St Marcellin's dream is brought to life on a daily basis. The following awards are presented to one student from each boarding residence who upholds the values and beliefs of the residence patron. The students receiving these awards have consistently displayed generosity of spirit, mateship, resilience, and have made our boarding community a better place for their presence. So the following 4 awards. Spirit of Gainey, Liam Gleave. The Spirit of Burke, Reeve Kleinschmidt. Spirit of Ambrose, Tavaka Palu. And the Spirit of Francois, Jordan Lindsay. Ladies and gentlemen, our boarding award winners. Thank you, Mr. Brimstone. I would now like to invite the Year 7 homeroom teachers to present their homeroom awards. (7.1) Max Poglio. (7.2) Kyle Heidenreich. (7.3) Jake Swindale. (7.4) Sahan Oshama. And 7.5, Iyam Madrano. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 7 homeroom award winners. I would now like to invite the Year 8 homeroom teachers to the stage to present their awards. 8.1, Enrique Groth. 8.2, Matthew Gatterer. 8.3, Christian Lasker. 8.4, Riley O'Sullivan. 8.5, Daniel Leibinger. And as we're congratulating our Year 8 winners, we'll also congratulate Mrs. Roberts, who yesterday became an Australian citizen. I would now like to invite our Year 9 homeroom teachers to present their awards. 9.1, Jacob Watson. 9.2, William England. 9.3, Thomas McKinnon. 9.4, Archie Ridolfi. And 9.5, Gyrette David. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 9 awardees. And now I would like to invite the Year 10 homeroom teachers to present their awards. At 10.1, Saifaloy Kilavarave. 10.2, Tom Kazubo. 10.3, Harrison Oates. 10.4, Flynn Lane. 10.5, James Murchie. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 10 homeroom awardees. And now I would like to invite the Year 11 homeroom teachers to present their awards. (11.2) Alwyn Musamichi. 11.3, Sebastian Crooks. 11.4, Akitha Pinapalaji. 11.5, William Nankaro. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 11 awardees. And now it's the turn for the Year 12 homeroom teachers to present their respective awards. 12.1, Mike Christensen. 12.2, Reese Land. 12.3, Ned Cross. 12.4, Denzel Combe. 12.5, Wesley Yao. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 12 homeroom awardees. And thank you to the homeroom teachers, not only for those awards, but for your splendid pastoral care throughout the year. We've now got a biggie. We have the combined colleges choir and the combined colleges strings. And tonight, under the direction of Mr. Chris Burson, they are going to perform for us Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm led to believe there are a couple of rogue members of the choir also involved. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the combined colleges choir.
Escape from reality.
One can only wonder what Freddie Mercury would have thought of all that. Boys and girls from two Catholic colleges in far north Queensland being both bohemian and rhapsodic. Let's thank them again. I would now like to invite Father Martin Kenny, parish priest of Our Lady Help of Christians and old boy of the college, to present the Year 7 awards. Mathematics, Jack Brunetto. Social Sciences, Matthew Pitts. Third aggregate, James Pavola. Religious Education, Science and second aggregate, Jaden Cox. English and first aggregate, Bryn Swain. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 7 academic award winners. Thank you, Father Martin. I would now invite Mr. Aaron Hume, Head of Year 7, to present the next award. The recipient of the Year 7 and Year 8 Student of the Year will be students who have involved themselves in many facets of the college, including, but not restricted to, the arts, sport, service, extracurricular college-based activities, while displaying Marist values and maintaining a high standard of academic achievement and conduct. The Year 7 Student of the Year award is given to Ike Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Hume. I would now like to invite Father Frank Gordon, the Vicar General of the Diocese, to present the Year 8 awards. Mathematics, Futa Ma. Religious Education, Taj Townsend. Third aggregate, Riley O'Sullivan. Science and second aggregate, Troy McNeil. English, Social Science and first aggregate, Darcy Oates. Congratulations to our Year 8 academic award winners. And thanks very much to you, Father Frank. I would now like to invite Mr. Steve McDonough, the Head of Year 8, to present the next set of awards. Our Reader of the Year, Harry Hume. our Junior Orator of the Year, Riley O'Sullivan. And the Year 8 Student of the Year, Darcy Oates. Thank you, Mr. McDonough. I would now like to invite the Mayor of Cairns, Mr. Bob Manning, to present our awards to Year 9. Italian, Ryan Bevan. Physical Education, Aaron Dempsey. Japanese, Joshua Lane. Religious Education, William Nichols. Food Technology, Hayden Pute. Visual Art, Campbell Rick. Digital Technologies and third aggregate, Robert Field. Music and second aggregate, Saxon Kapelos. I need a bit of a breath here. For business education, design and technologies, drama, English, mathematics, social science, science, and hardly surprisingly, first aggregate, Jack Hardy. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 9 academic award winners. Thank you, Mr. Manning. I now invite Mr. Chris O'Farrell, our Head of Year 9, to the stage to present the next award. Our recipient for excellent contribution to the arts in the junior school plays the trumpet in 2 bands. He sings in the college choir. He's in the combined college chamber singers. He cantors at the masses. He had a role in the college musical Fiddler on the Roof, and he was also selected to participate in the State Honours Ensemble program. For excellent contribution to the arts, Jack Burdett. Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for something completely different. Our next item is a dramatic monologue. It's a cracking story and it's a cracking presentation. To present to us this evening, The Man from Snowy River, please welcome Year 7 English student Angus Ferrari.
There was movement at the station, for the word had passed around that the colt from Old Regret had got away. He had joined the wild bush horses. He was worth £1,000, so all the cracks had gathered to the fray. All the tried and noted riders from the stations near and far had mustered at the homestead overnight. For the bushmen love hard riding where the wild bush horses are, and the stock horse snuffs the battle with delight. There was Harrison who made his pile when Pardon won the cup, the old man with his hair as white as snow. but few could ride beside him. When his blood was fairly up, he would go wherever horse or man could go. And Clancy of the Overflow came down to lend a hand. No better horseman ever held the reins, for never horse could throw him while the saddle girths would stand. He learnt to ride while droving on the plains. And one was there, a stripling, on a small and weedy beast. He was something like a racehorse, undersized, with a touch of Timor pony, 3 parts thoroughbred at least, and such as are by mountain horsemen prized. He was hard and tough and wiry, just the sort that won't say die. There was courage in his quick, impatient tread, and he bore the badge of gameness in his bright and fiery eye, and the proud and lofty carriage of his head. But still so slight and weedy, one would doubt his power to stay, and the old man said, "That horse will never do. For a long and tiring gallop, lad, you'd better stop away. Those hills are far too rough for such as you." So he waited, sad and wistful. Only Clancy stood his friend. "I think we ought to let him come," he said. "I warrant he'll be with us when he's wanted at the end, for both his horse and he are mountain bred. He hails from Snowy River up by Kosciuszko's side, where the hills are twice as steep and twice as rough, where a horse's hoofs strike firelight from the flintstones every stride. The man that holds his own is good enough. And the Snowy River riders on the mountains rank their home, where the river runs those giant hills between. I have seen full many horsemen since I first commenced to roam, but nowhere yet such horsemen have I seen." When they reached the mountain's summit, even Clancy took a pull. It well might make the boldest hold their breath, for the wild hop scrub grew thickly, and the hidden ground was full of wombat holes, and any slip was death. But the man from Snowy River let the pony have his head, and he swung his whip round and gave a cheer, and he raced him down the mountain like a torrent down its bed, while the others stood and watched in very fear. He sent the flintstones flying, but the pony kept his feet. He cleared the fallen timber in his stride, and the man from Snowy River never shifted in his seat. It was grand to see that mountain horseman ride. Through the stringy barks and saplings on the rough and broken ground, down the hillside at a racing pace he went, and he never drew the bridle till he landed safe and sound at the bottom of that terrible descent. He was right among the horses as they climbed the farther hills. The watchers on the mountains, standing mute, saw him ply the stockwhip fiercely. He was right among them still as they raced across the clearing in pursuit. Then they lost him for a moment, where 2 mountain gullies met in the ranges, but a final glimpse reveals, on a dim and distant hillside, the wild horses racing yet, with the man from Snowy River at their heels. And he ran them single-handed till their sides were white with foam. He followed like a bloodhound on their track, till they lay haunted, cowed and beaten. Then he turned their heads for home, and alone and unassisted brought them back. But his hardy mountain pony, he could scarcely race a trot. He was blood from hip to shoulder from the spur, but his pluck was still undaunted and his courage fiery hot, and never yet was mountain horse occur. And down by Kosciuszko, where the pine-clad ridges raised their torn and rugged battlements on high, with the air as clear as crystal, and the white stars fairly blaze at midnight in the cold and frosty sky. And where around the overflow the reedbeds sweep and sway to the breezes, and the rolling plains are wide. The man from Snowy River is a household word today, and the stockmen tell the story of his ride. Oh yes, the stockmen tell the story of his ride. Yeehaw!
Goodness gracious. And Angus is in grade 7. What's he going to do when he grows up? Let's thank Angus again. I would now invite Mr. Bill Dixon, our Executive Director of Catholic Education in the Diocese, to present the Year 10 Awards. For Business Education and Digital Technologies, Will Beattie. Drama, Andrew Bellaby. Visual Art, Tom Kazubo. Science, Prashant Goel. Semester 2, Physical Education, Miguel Groth. Semester 1, History, Jed Hera Singh. Japanese, Moka Ikehara. Food Technology, Bailey Moorhead. Media, Cade Williams. English, Religious Education and Third Aggregate, Flynn Keir. Mathematics, Music and Second Aggregate, Richard Hewlin. Semester 2 History, Physical Education Elective, Semester 1 Physical Education and First Aggregate, Finn Churchwood. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 10 Academic Award winners. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. I now invite Mr. Angelo Caltabiano, the President of our Old Boys Association, to present the next award. The Old Boys Prize for All-Round Achievement in Year 10 is awarded to Will Beattie. Thank you, Mr. Caltabiano. I now invite Mr. Vince Pappalardo to present the next award. The Sam Pappalardo Memorial Bursary for Effort and Achievement in Year 10 is awarded to Richard Hewlin. Thank you, Mr. Pappalardo. I now invite Mr. Neil Gregory, our Head of Year 10, to present the next two awards. The Brother Leonidas Memorial Award for Christian Leadership in Year 10 is awarded to Miguel Groth. And our Year 10 Dux is Finn Churchwood. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. I would now invite to the stage the member for Cairns and Marist Old Boy, Mr. Michael Healy, to present the Year 11 awards. Psychology, Alexis Armstrong-Smith. Information Communication Technology, Noah Browning. Engineering Pathways, Aaron Casey. Essential English, Riley Chapman. Physical Education, Charles Churchwood. Biology, Lachlan Fitch. Engineering, Max Gadd. Kitchen Operations, Balin Glass. Digital Solutions, Michael Guerrera. Japanese and Catholic Faith in Action, Riley Hayden. Film, Television and New Media, Jack Jenkins. Design, Maxim Kotzer. Visual Arts in Practice, Ben Maloney. Visual Art, Sam Nichols. Sport and Recreation and Accounting, Edward Orchard. Drama and General Mathematics, Nick Reed. Essential Mathematics, Liam Sands. Literature, Alex Tanase. Industrial Graphics Skills, Bryce Tinney. Construction, Christopher Van Bale. Fitness, Will Wright. Third aggregate, Brandon Shakespeare. For business, economics, English, legal studies, modern history, and second aggregate, Reuben Porter. For chemistry, mathematical methods, specialist mathematics, musics, physics, and first aggregate, Jack Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 11 academic award winners. And now we move, ladies and gentlemen, to our college percussion ensemble. They're in their 5th year, and tonight they will perform for us Jai Ho. Under the direction of Mr. Jonathan Barbagallo, please welcome the St. Augustine's College Percussion Ensemble. certainly won't forget that in a hurry. Thank you very much to the Percussion Ensemble. That was a most emphatic performance. I would now invite Mr. Brennan to present the Year 12 Academic Awards. Recreation, Casey Agnew. Pre-vocational mathematics, Kyron Barr. Drama, film, television and new media, visual arts in practice, James Blee. English, mathematics B, mathematics C, music, physics and religion and ethics, Gabriel Brown. Information, communications and technology, Anthony Connolly. Accounting, Josh Davies. Italian, James Harris. Visual art, Jack Hislam. You've got to love an excitable mum. Information technology systems, Mitchell Hoy. Chemistry and modern history, Jason Liu. Economics, Bryn McCarthy. Construction, Ryan McCormick. Kitchen operations, Simeon Natush. Engineering pathways and technology studies, Harrison Ostler. Fitness, Archer Schultz. Earth science and graphics, Jason So. Mathematics and music extension, Harrison Will. Japanese, Liam Winter. Physical education, Brock Wallen. English communication, Wesley Yao. Legal studies and third aggregate, William Johnson. Biology and second aggregate, Harrison LeBeurs. Ladies and gentlemen, our Year 12 Academic Award winners. Thank you, Mr. Brennan. I would now invite Mrs. Cherise Spanenberg, our Head of Arts and Performing Arts, to present the next award. The recipient of the Outstanding Contribution to the Arts Award plays percussion in the concert band, the percussion ensemble, the big band. He sings in the choir and the combined chamber singers, as well as a cantor for college masses. He had a lead role in Fiddler on the Roof. He has performed as the drummer in the Mallows while recording their music. He won second prize in the ASME Young Composers Competition with his work Disturbed Peace. Congratulations go to Jack Gooden. Thank you, Mrs. Spanenberg. And I now invite former staff member, Mr. Chet Kursavani, to present the next award. The winner of this award has demonstrated initiative, strong work ethic, and high-quality craftsmanship in the completion of projects. He is someone whom his teachers will attest to being highly employable. The Chet Kursavani Design and Technology Award goes to Harrison Ostler. Thank you, Mr. Kursavani. I now ask Mr. Brennan back to present the next two awards. The Laurie Blampard Memorial Trophy for Senior Orator of the Year is awarded to James Blee. Our next prize is awarded to a student in the senior years who has achieved the highest average scored across both Mathematics B and Mathematics C. The Graham Cruden Prize for Senior Mathematics goes to Gabriel Brown. Thank you, Mr. Brennan. The senior musicians are a very talented bunch. They're committed to their craft, they work hard. Tonight, they're going to present something that sounds really funky, Hey Soul Sister. But we'll give it a little while because Gabriel's sort of sprinting around the back to get his position. He's a talented little bugger, isn't he? Ladies and gentlemen, the senior musicians.
So just while they get ready, tonight we'll be performing Hey Soul Sister, but it's not the version that you would be familiar with. So it's pretty different.
Acoustic for this one. Oh no. Hey guys, welcome to my comedy special. Okay.
Hey, 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 hey,
my love direction against your love connection, and I can't deny. Hey, 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 your sweet moonbeam, the smell of you in every single dream I dream. I knew when we collided, you're the one I have decided who's one of my kind. Hey soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio, the stereo, the way you move ain't there, you know. Hey soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight. Hey, 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 just in time. I'm so glad you have a one-track mind like me. You gave my love direction against your love connection, and I can't deny. I'm so upset. My heart is bound to beat right out my untrimmed chest. I believe in you like a virgin, you're Madonna, and I'm always gonna wanna blow your mind. Hey soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio, stereo, the way you move ain't there, you know. Hey soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight. And you can't cut a rug, watching you's the only drug I need. So gangster, I'm so good, you're the only one I'm dreaming of. You see, I can be myself and finally, in fact there's nothing I can't be. I want the world to see you be with me. Hey soul sister, ain't that Mr. on the radio, stereo, the way you move ain't there, you know. Hey soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight. Thank you.
I surprise myself sometimes. I recognise that tune. Vaguely. Thank you very much to the senior musicians for that high energy performance. We now, ladies and gentlemen, come to our major awards for the evening, and I invite Mr. Angelo Morrow to present the first of those awards. Matthew Morrow was a student at the college who faced the huge challenge of leukemia. In his struggle with this disease, he showed extraordinary courage and optimism. He was never defeated and maintained an inspiring optimism. The award presented in his memory by his family is given to someone who has demonstrated uncommon resolve and commitment during the year. The Matthew John Morrow Award for Outstanding Effort is presented to Jason Liu. Thank you, Mr. Morrow. I would now invite Mr. Williamson to the stage. The next award is named in honour of one of the most respected and loved members of the St Augustine's family, Mr. Lionel Williamson. This award is for a student who has shown unstinting generosity through the year, who has volunteered, unprompted and often, for worthwhile causes, and of whom it can be justly said that St Augustine's is a better place for his having been one of its seniors. The Lionel Williamson Award for Initiative and Service goes to Ethan Andrzyk. Thank you, Mr. Williamson. And now I invite Bishop James to present the next award. This award has been presented by the Bishop of Cairns for over 70 years and goes to a senior student who has been distinguished by his living out of the values of the gospel and his leading his fellow students to do the same. This student will be a young man of principle, of resolve, of generosity. The college will be a better place for his influence. The Bishop's Prize for Christian Leadership this year is awarded to Simeon Natush. Thank you, Bishop James. I now invite Mr. Brennan to present the next awards. And this next award is sponsored by the Percussion family and named for one of the college's most outstanding old boys, Lou Percussion, someone whose faith, sense of service and high achievements epitomises all that might be hoped for a graduate of St. Augustine's. The Lou Percussion Prize for General Proficiency is awarded to Lucas Krezovic. The next award is one of the oldest awards of the college and is for a student who has demonstrated a consistently positive attitude to college life. This is not a passive award, that it is not for someone who just stays out of trouble. Rather, it is given to a student who has helped to shape the spirit of the senior class and set a positive tone throughout the college. He will have done this principally through his own good example, by his encouragement of others, and by his personal involvement in a range of college activities. The Good Conduct Medal is awarded to Alistair Maloney. You will have to bear with me for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, because in the 36 years I've been at the college, this has never happened before. A highlight of any speech night is the naming of the ducks for the college year. The college has an enviable academic reputation, and the men who have been named as ducks from year to year have gone on to distinguished careers in a wide range of fields. The Champagne Award is presented by the Maris brothers to a student who has made the most outstanding contribution to the life of the college. This student will be someone who has distinguished himself in a range of areas of college life: academic, sporting, cultural and service. He will be someone who is universally respected, not only for his dedication and achievement, but also his willingness to share his gifts with other people. The College Ducks and the winner of the Champagne Award for 2019, ladies and gentlemen, is Gabriel Brown. Gabriel recently started a course in weightlifting. Thank you very much to our presenters this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my very great pleasure to deliver his inaugural Principal's Address, our College Principal, Mr Matthew Brennan.
Thank you very much to Mr Dorahy, to Bishop James and all of our distinguished guests, to our Reverend brothers who are here with us, our parents, the young men of Saints and also the young ladies of St Monica's. Can I say welcome to the evening tonight? It's interesting, when I was walking across I saw a few looks of absolute horror when people saw me walking across with this many pages. I can assure you it's nothing more than the program, so there's nothing on here, so I'm not going to be talking for 15 pages. But what I will say is just how it's been an interesting couple of days for me, in the sense that I've been with all of the principals of the diocese, and I started to think something was up when I think every one of them at some point over the last 48 hours has said, well, good luck with your awards night. Having been working in schools it was my sixth school over 27, 28 years, I thought, well, it's another awards night. It's another speech night. And I've done so many of these, but this is something just incredible. I must admit I'm in a little bit of awe, and that wow factor is here. I think you could almost charge for admission. I was thinking at one point maybe we're going to have an admission break sometime, and the drinks and that'll be the carts and the food and all that will come out, because it is such a celebration and such an amazing event. So now it makes a little bit of sense. Again, when the last comment from somebody when I left Seville Mercy Centre this afternoon was, gee, I hope it goes well and best of luck. And I'm thinking, it is only an awards night, but it is just so much more than that. And so can I really take this opportunity to thank everybody involved? And I'll name a few of those in a moment. But I guess the first people I really want to recognise this evening is in fact the parents. Parents and guardians of the young men, and so many have come across the stage this evening, are obviously our first teachers. They're the ones who obviously throughout the early years and continue to do so today are your real moral compass, as well often as your teacher of all things inside and outside of classrooms. So whilst tonight is very much being congratulating the boys for some really phenomenal efforts, I think it's very, very important that we also recognise the efforts of parents. To our young men, and it was just absolutely, again, I thought amazing to hear a boy of Year 7 with no notes quote a poem that went on for minutes, and the way it was choreographed with the footage. I'm in a very fortunate position sitting on stage and just looking at the reactions of the people who are watching, and the eyes that continue to dart from the screen back to our incredible Year 7 presenter, Mr Ferrari. It was certainly a highlight and something that I'll remember. Again, to put the two wonderful schools, St Monica's and St Augustine's, together for music, again, is something that we are truly blessed to be a part of. And then obviously to have our Year 12 group, we give their rendition. I've heard them been practising that because my office isn't far from the music block, and those on the PNF will know that we've approved some soundproofing for that room, and you'll probably hear why, given, as I said, I get to hear that 5 periods a day with my window open. You'll notice on stage, and it's a little bit difficult to see, we've tried to get the lighting through it, but there's a stained glass window not far from where Mr Helms is sitting. And I was very, very honoured to receive an email and a letter this week, and we'll certainly take photos of it in better light, and we'll get it on all of our social medias and websites, and certainly in the newsletter. But it was a letter from Bishop James, and what we have there is a stained glass window featuring Marcellin Champagne, obviously the founder of the Maris Brothers, and really the reason why St Augustine's is open today. And certainly that will take pride of place somewhere in the school. It's not something that will rush as to its location, but I can assure you, Bishop James, that it will take pride of place in the college. As to where or when, at this stage we're not sure. Hopefully it will be in time for you to come and actually bless it before your well-deserved retirement. I think we're looking at February next year. But again, I would like to thank Bishop James, and as I said, please keep an eye out, because when we do get the right lighting and a few things, we'll certainly be taking pictures of that. And again, it's just another wonderful gift and a great addition for us as a college. The other thing I would like to just read to you, hence the reason I've got my phone with me, was an email that I received, and you would have seen that Alistair Maloney received the award from the class of 1953. And I received an email, as I said, which was a lovely email from a gentleman by the name of John Lizio. and I'll read it to you. Dear principal, staff and students, each year as I receive an invitation to the annual presentation of awards, I'm filled with both joy and a multitude of happy memories flooding back from my many years at St Augustine's. As a senior of 1953, it saddens me that I will not be present for the presentation of our humble award. There are only 4 of us left. John from Brisbane, who called into the college recently and spent time with Brother Joa. James Lennon, also from Brisbane. Frank Mines, who was with us till 1952 and finished his senior year in Brisbane, and myself. A most sincere thank you for the invitation. God willing, the Senior of 53 award, like the Brother Gildas Award, will continue in perpetuity. Perhaps next year one of us might be present for the presentation. Prayerful blessings on the principal, staff and students from John Lizio, Senior of 1953. And I wanted to share that with you because I think often we take for granted that our schooling at St Augustine's or any wonderful school is for a short time. But I say this to our Year 12s, and we'll talk more in a couple of weeks at graduation, but it's fair to hear for all of our boys from Year 7 to 12. The lessons that you learn at this fine college, the memories that you gain at this fine college, whether you're walking across the stage for an award or it's something simply as playing handball with friends, those memories will stay with you for life. The lessons that you learn out of the classroom are probably going to be more valuable to the lessons that you learn in the classroom. The lessons of mateship, the lessons of compassion, the lessons of caring for each other. And as I said, to get an email from a gentleman that left this school over 70 years ago, and he still speaks fondly of it, should hold you in great comfort, knowing that irrespective of the journeys and the trials and tribulations that you'll have over your time post St Augustine's, there is always a constant and a place to call home and a place to return. So in concluding, as I mentioned, I'd like to thank a number of people. Mrs Jean Lendon, who works in the front office with Marie McCormick, with Julie Raymond and others, have been tirelessly working behind the scenes to get programs organised, to get certificates printed, to get trophies engraved. I put a spanner in the works this morning. I was in a conversation with someone last night who mentioned they'd be coming tonight, and they weren't in the book, and they were pretty important that we got them in the book. So we had to redo the booklet this morning. Last thing they wanted to do on a day like today. We have our wonderful staff, and I really am not saying this just because it's the right thing to say. I don't think I've worked with a staff who work harder or put more into their work and into their boys than the staff at St Augustine's. The fact that we've a Friday night, we have all of our teaching staff here. There are a number of the support staff here. I know our IT department are involved somewhere here filming, getting ready for live streams and those sorts of things. If we're looking for, as a young student, if you're looking for a beacon of light or somebody who can really guide you, it is our teaching staff and our general staff around the school. So I would like to just publicly recognise the fact that the staff are all here, the fact that we had so many presenting homeroom awards and our heads of year and our boarding and all of the other awards, led so well again by Mr Dorothy as MC. I think it's appropriate we give them a round of applause. And I'll leave you with just a final quote. We've all heard it before, but it was something that came across the radio when I was in the car today. And that's the only time you see success before work is in the dictionary. And clearly we have a number of young men who have worked very, very hard and were well deserved of their awards this evening. So I thank you all very, very much again for attending. This is something I'll certainly be telling colleagues about in my previous schools when they talk about their wonderful speech nights and awards nights. I'll just tell them to go to the St Augustine's YouTube channel and they can watch it how it's supposed to really be done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr Brennan, and thank you for your wonderful leadership this year. We hope it is one of many. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw ever so slightly to a conclusion, we'll get ready to go out with somewhat of a bang as we hear the St Augustine's Big Band under the direction of Mrs Spannenberg Tonight they will perform for us Zoot, Suit, Riot. Ladies and gentlemen, the big band. Weeks ago at the Cairns Performing Arts Centre, I had a wonderful evening listening to the Glenn Miller Band. And seriously, ladies and gentlemen, that was every bit as good. Let's thank the big band again. Thank you. Before I invite Bishop James to impart a final blessing, evenings like this simply don't occur. An enormous amount of work has gone behind the scenes with the leadership team, particularly Dr. Lynch coordinating all the technology, Mr. Helms getting all the prizes and the list of award winners together, and Mr. Rigby tying it together in his usual inimitable fashion. Can we please thank the leadership team? And as any good Catholic school should, we finish in a spiritual dimension. And I ask Bishop James to the stage to impart a final blessing upon us.
Well, I'm going to do a bit more than a blessing, actually. I was very persistent this afternoon to find out what time this was actually going to finish. And I was assured it was going to finish by 8:30. And why I was so insistent is I've got to spend the weekend in the Torres Strait and leave for Thursday Island in the morning. Our principal, Matthew Brennan, referred to the stained glass there, seeing it somewhat dully lit, is rather like St Paul's phrase of how we live at this stage. We live our lives of faith as through a glass darkly, but then we shall see face to face. Just to let you in on a few trade secrets, I acquired that from an auction house in Maastricht in the south of the Netherlands, where I've acquired over the years quite a lot of the art that's around the cathedral and quite a number of pieces of stained glass. It depicts that one, and it's the largest I've acquired, a 18th, 19th century French curé or parish priest, black soutanned and without the red buttons, and instead of the Roman collar that we wear, he has the bib, like barristers and judges wear, and Marist brothers used to wear. So it's a very strong likeness of St Martin Champagne. When Angus was doing his Man from Snowy River, and why didn't we see what's her name? Sigrid Thornton. Wasn't she edited out of that footage? Whatever happened to her? Sort of boy's own, wasn't it? Anyway, it reminded me, one of those stories I remember from my Marist days at Ashgrove, the story about Martin Champagne being called out on a sick call, getting lost in the snow, and miraculously a farmer came out one door with a lamp and went into the other, and that saved the priest's life. John O'Brien, Monsignor John Hartigan, an Australian poet who wrote Around the Bory Log and other things, was a priest in a remote parish on the western side of the Snowy Mountains. And he, like Martin Champagne, was actually called out to give the last rites to the Man from Snowy River. So that's just an interesting little connection there. When you see it more clearly, and it's been sitting on the dining room table in the Bishop's house all week, I started to clean it, but it got too much for me, and S.L. Kingsley, our housekeeper, spent days on it. The only thing I did, there was one piece that was a bit loose in its lead frame, and experts would probably shudder at this. I got the super glue out and put it up in the lead frame and shoved a piece of glass up there. It almost got my finger stuck. So you might have ended up with both Martin Champagne and myself in perpetuity. I give it, though, as a parting gift to St Augustine's. This is my 27th speech night and probably my last. I was advised at the beginning of this year, for health reasons, to put in an earlier retirement. Normally bishops go to 75 and often to 78. And if I'd gone to 78, I would have broken Bishop John Heavy's record of 34 years. But Bishop Heavy went through 2 world wars from 1914-18 and 1939-45. That hasn't been my experience. But when I got word that I could retire, I had a sensation that I couldn't quite identify, and I realised it was exactly the sensation that the Year 12s would be having now. About a month before you finished Year 12 or senior, that sense, huge relief of impending freedom. And so I can identify with our Year 12s as they leave, and I wish them well. And again, not going to overdo things, stained glass is a very interesting medium. And I learned this from the man Perry Cummins, who did the stained glass windows in the cathedral. For instance, the face on Marcelin, you start with a piece of perhaps yellowy flesh-coloured glass already, and then you apply certain pigments or dust that then you flick off the bits you don't want. So it's the opposite of any other art form where you put on what you want. In stained glass, you flick off what you don't want, and then it is put in the oven up to 500 degrees, and the pigment, the glass gets close to melting, and the pigment actually impregnates the glass. Okay, now that's all very interesting. The older I get, the more I appreciate my Marist training. And I look forward as never before to getting the Ashgrove Old Boys Journal. And I realise that what we receive in our Marist training isn't something just on the surface, but something that actually impregnates our whole selves. And so too, our Christian life of faith isn't just something on the surface, but something that actually seeps in and is indelibly upon us. So, taking that, I'm just very grateful for what the college does, what Marist education did for me, and I commend our Year 12s as they will sing Sub Tuum, and let us pause now and pray. May that peace of God, which is beyond all understanding, keep your minds and your hearts in the knowledge and love of God and of his Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. And may Almighty God bless you, keep you and love you, God who is Father, Son and Holy Spirit. Let us be at peace to love and serve the Lord. And good night. And here come Year 12. And I know exactly how you feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the senior class will now enter the hall. The Sub Tuum is one of the oldest Marian prayers in the Church's rich tradition. We fly to thy patronage, O Holy Mother of God. To present it to you this evening, ladies and gentlemen, the senior class of 2019. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that a most fitting way to end this evening. Thank you so much for coming and sharing the evening with us. We hope you have enjoyed it. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night.